welcome to the Church of Chonkwij Podcast. My name is DrNiggle, and joining me tonight is OmegaConstruct, the Leetness, Zero Burn, and yeah, we're gonna have a good show tonight. We got some interesting stuff to talk about. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. How's everybody doing? How's the week been treating you?
Move on.
It's still pretty early, so far it's pretty good.
Oh, I forgot that we actually do this at the start of the week.
It's Monday!
How was last week for you guys? How was, I don't know, let's pick an arbitrary date. How are you doing on the 6th?
I was sick.
That was a good day. I think it was a good day. Yeah.
Pretty
Great
good day.
Oh, wait, no, there were some things that happened on the 6th, weren't there?
Were there? I was inside. I was playing video games the entire day, and Leetness was sick in bed.
And I was working.
Yeah. No, there's a little bit of terrorist insurrection.
Oh, you don't say.
Oh, that old chestnut.
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah. There was some shit that went down. Just saying.
There are a bunch of fucking artards who decided it was a good idea to fight for democracy by fighting against democracy and go to the Capitol and wreck a bunch of shit, invade the Senate chambers and the House chambers, take selfies of themselves, post it online, take videos of themselves doing illegal shit, putting it online, and then that was great. And then a lot of people spoke out in support of these complete fucking retards. And one of them happened to be, who was it? The guy who is on the PogChamp emote for Twitch. Made some fucking dumbass Twitter posts. Let's see.
Guy who goes named by the handle Gutex. He's relatively small time. I won't say small time. He's a YouTuber, Twitch streamer kind of dude, and he said some shit in support of that, and he's kind of been a crazy right winger for a while, it seems, and Twitch up and decided to remove him as the face of the most iconic emote on Twitch.
So before no one here is going to get in a really big huff and start an argument about this, but I always hear the adversarial voices in my head because, as has been well documented, I am crazy. So before anyone gets too much opposed to what is going on here, the exact quote that Gutex put out was, "Will there be civil unrest for the woman who was executed inside the Capitol today, or will the hashtag MAGA martyr die in vain? Question mark. The video will be aired soon on banned.video and the whatever else website this is, and it sounds pretty gruesome." So first of all, the whole argument here that, well, he didn't actually advocate any violence or anything, he was just asking a question. Horse fucking shit. Okay? That's like Hitler gets up in front of a crowd and says, "Will the Jews continue to harass the German people and steal our way of life, or will we do something about it?" Yeah, that's not considered incitement? Eat shit. Second of all, the video will be aired soon, quote unquote. Hate to break it to this guy, but I was watching the live footage. CNN and MSNBC both aired the footage on live TV, presumably before they knew what was happening in the footage. But it aired live on TV. So, this guy.
Yeah, the censored versions of the woman getting shot were definitely. I've seen them on multiple news networks. I saw the video. She fucking deserved it.
Yeah, this is, if anyone is unfamiliar with this video or needs to identify the video, it is the video of the crowd who are smashing the glass of a pair of double doors that are very clearly barricaded on the other side with benches, chairs, whatever. They're smashing these windows with bulletproof glass. They're not making much progress until the windows actually pop out of their frames. Then they take the windows down And this woman is the first person trying to crawl through the open window way of the door. You hear a single gunshot. She falls back, and then miraculously, everybody stops acting like a retard.
Yeah.
Everybody gets down. Everybody stops. Everybody starts backing off.
She was the first and only person through that window.
And I do not feel sorry for her at all. She did a really fucking stupid thing without thinking about it, and she paid a terrible price. The moral of the story is, your actions have consequences.
Yep, the Capitol Police officer was visible. People on her side of the wall were saying, hey, there's a gun, guy's got a gun, guy's got a gun. Like, the dude was standing there with a gun pointed at the door, and she made the decision to go through it anyway. This woman is like, the right is now treating her like a martyr, of course, because they're stupid. They're talking, she's an Air Force veteran, blah, 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 blah. Well, she's also like a MAGA shithead. She's also got an arrest record for all sorts of insanity.
A couple restraining orders.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. Like, this woman is a nut job, and she killed herself. Or no, you know who killed her? Trump and the Republicans, who incited this mob to violence with months of lies and deliberately trying to get this to happen.
Cruz, Hawley, Trump, Giuliani, just a couple names that come to mind who might be responsible for her death.
Yep. So, unfortunately, one of the people who died was a Capitol Police officer who was beaten to death by these peaceful right-wing Republican protesters, these good, God-fearing Americans who back the blue and, Blue Lives Matter and, all that bullshit.
Which they themselves did not believe in, because they tore up their thin blue line American flags and started throwing it around off the balcony of the Capitol House and saying "fuck the police." So yeah, that's a nice turnaround there.
They like the police when the police are being rough towards people they don't like.
Not white people.
Yes, not white people and not conservatives. Fuck them.
This is the MAGA martyr.
Two of the other people who died, I find it hilarious to say. One of them died of a heart attack. Rumor is after accidentally tasing themselves with their taser, and then another person had a stroke. So, that tells you pretty much all you need to know about the MAGA crowd. You got a bunch of fat geriatric old assholes who think they're fucking freedom fighters, and they, get out of breath and fucking have heart attacks running up the Capitol steps. The only casualties were idiots and shitheads, and as far as I'm concerned, fuck them.
Well, and then there were the one police officer who was beaten to death with a fire extinguisher, and the other police officer who took his own life. Which was announced, I think, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, got nothing against the Capitol Police officers who were actually trying to do their jobs. Like the one gentleman who was being chased up the staircase and successfully diverted a crowd of angry people from the unsecured Senate chamber. That guy, doing his job, no problem with him. Some other Capitol Police officers got caught on video, letting the protesters through the barriers. Got a problem with them. But anyway, back. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we could turn this into a podcast where we just talk about this, but I don't blame them, because they were so severely outnumbered. The people to blame are the people who are in charge of the Capitol Police, who did not have the perimeter secured, who did not have the officers armed, who, the officers were set up to fail. Those I've seen so many videos. There's this one that stands out in my mind the most, of this crowd of hundreds of protesters bum rushing a police barricade with 4 cops behind it, and they just bull rush it, bowl it over. One of the cops gets knocked down to the ground. Like, it's this one woman cop who's there holding the barricades, trying to hold back this flood of people. and they bowl her over. She smashes her head back onto a concrete staircase on the walkway behind her. Looks pretty much unconscious, and these Blue Lives Matter MAGA Republicans swarm over and past her, and these Capitol Police who were there on the ground. So much of the narrative has been like, oh, if it was a BLM protest, they would have beat the shit out of them. They would have. It wasn't that. It was purely a numbers thing. If any of these cops tried to do anything, they got beaten to death with a fire extinguisher, or they got trampled and knocked out against a concrete staircase, or we could go on. I feel like those cops were in an impossible situation. And
just to play devil's advocate here for a moment before we get back to Gutek, what do you think about the police or the Capitol Police officers who are currently under investigation because they were taking selfies with the protesters?
I mean, that's pretty retarded, for sure. And I'm not going to suggest that there aren't any individual bad actors among the Capitol Police. I mean, that would be ridiculous to say. But I don't think for a second that there was a large group of Capitol Police officers there on the ground who were like, oh yeah, they're here, let's let them in, time to go. I think it's more like it was like, there's not a fucking thing we can do, and if we get in the way of this mob, we're gonna get murdered. Now the guys who are taking selfies, that to me could just be a really dumb fucking thing that someone did. And they didn't necessarily have anything malicious. It was kind of a situation of like, well, I mean, I'm fucking here and this guy's taking a selfie, might as well fucking smile. Or it could have been, someone who agreed with them and was along for the ride, and either way, fuck them. But yeah, I place the blame fully on the leadership and the command structure of the Capitol Police before I put it on the officers on the ground at large. Like I said, they're absolutely maybe individual bad actors, and I'm glad that there are investigations underway of those individuals, but I don't think the Capitol Police force at large, the members of the police force, deserve the hate and criticism that they've been getting from the public, from the media, from etc. I think that all of the blame and the failings goes on the chief of the Capitol Police, who has resigned. The Senate and House, or I forget which, it was either the Senate or the House Sergeant at Arms also resigned. These are the people who failed in planning and in taking the perceived threat seriously. The cops on the ground.
Yeah. So, and then we go into the verging on conspiracy theory opinion portion of everything, which I don't want to do. I don't have a problem talking about politics. I do have a problem talking about conspiracy theories, so I won't go there. But the point is, there's going to be a lot of investigation around what happened. There already is investigation regarding the woman who was killed. The whole thing about trying to put these people up onto, or put the MAGA insurrectionists, I called them protesters a while back. I apologize for that. They're fucking traitors. The thing that these that is the problem with Gutek's saying, calling this traitor a MAGA martyr, is exactly the reason why Twitch threw him off, or threw the PogChamp emote off. And I'm not sure what happened to his Twitch account, if he's violated TOS on Twitch. Is he still a thing? The point is, he's gone. Yeah, while we check.
Yep.
His follow-up post while we're waiting for that was that, P.S. Big Brother Twitter wouldn't let me post the URL, so if you don't think big tech censorship is real, there you go. This is obviously, this was an early comment, which is now being echoed the week after, where a lot of people, particularly conservative voices or MAGA voices, are being censored on Twitter. And they say, like, this is completely unfair, a violation of my First Amendment rights, blah, 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 blah. I find it hilarious that it was the right side of the government which argued for Citizens United, that wanted to make corporations have the same rights as people. Private corporations are able to execute their business as they see fit. This is something that the right argued for. This is your policy. And it's not like the left didn't argue for it too. There were supporters on the left, of course there were. But private companies can do whatever the fuck they want. So, yeah, you did something stupid, you got kicked off Twitch. You did something stupid, you got kicked off Twitter. People lose 50,000 bots on their account and they get pissed off about it. Yeah, sorry. Twitter's not a right.
No, absolutely. Cross Counter TV, which is the channel that he helped co-found, is still active at 48,000 followers. But
Gotcha. Okay.
And of course, I looked up Social Blade, which is not at all accurate. Says that they've gained followers since that date, but not nearly the way that they were. They went from gaining about anywhere between 400 and 900 a day down to like 26.
Is he still active on their platform?
As it shows right now, let's see. They're currently offline. Looks like the last video that they did. Golly, I don't even see when the last video they did was. It doesn't even show. Schedule. They don't have a schedule up or anything.
There's a lot of people who were very vocal about support of this have gone quiet. This is not an uncommon thing across social media. People who were not very vocally supportive of what Trump advocated on January 6th are more vocal, saying that, they're victims because they're losing followers or they're losing subscriptions. Crocodile tears, and I can't care less. I can't bring myself to care.
It's just the free market at work.
Yeah, isn't that shitty when the free market is actually a thing that you have to deal with?
If you say shit and people decide not to like you anymore because you said some shit, well, they are entitled to do that.
It's not a violation of your First Amendment rights. Sorry.
If you're losing followers because you said some dumb shit, that certainly doesn't mean that, like, some big evil conspiracy is stripping away your followers. No, that means people are choosing to no longer listen to your bullshit. And there's really nothing wrong with that.
And the argument, what came to my mind when people were talking about losing followers, losing whatever, and being banned from Twitch and other social media platforms is something that I heard Felix Schellberg say probably 2 years ago or 3 years ago regarding Alex Jones being kicked off of YouTube. And Felix's argument was that this is not the way to solve problems. Disengaging from communication and, cutting people off so that they feel like they don't have a voice isn't going to solve anything. It's just going to further the divide between two people. And on the surface, that sounds like a reasonable argument. However, if you keep on telling people that the sky is blue, and they keep on insisting that the sky is neon green, like all the time, that the sky is basically a green screen all the time, and you're like, just look at it, that's obviously not true, and then they start punching you, it's probably not going to further the line of communication between the two of you if you keep on trying to talk to them. There comes a point where you need to say, okay, you know what, I'm done with this. And you're a danger to me and to yourself and to society at large. You need to shut up.
I think the thing that people forget is that communication and discourse is a two-way street. And when you have somebody who is saying ridiculous shit and refuses to acknowledge or listen to any of the thing that disproves their ridiculous shit, then they are no longer worth communicating with. And that goes for, a person that you know in a one-to-one interpersonal relationship. And that goes for public figures who have platforms and say stupid, heinous shit. If they are refusing to acknowledge reality, like it's one thing to have a differing opinion on reality. It's another thing to ignore reality and substitute it with some fallacy that you've created in your head. And once people do that, they are not worth communicating with. They are not worth giving a platform. They are not worth the time of day.
And that's when law enforcement needs to step in and unfortunately start investigating people because they are apparently violent.
When your denial of reality incites fucking armed insurrection on, the halls of our government, then yeah, absolutely.
It's even better when you think it's perfectly fine for you to go out and make statements like the fact that you're coming back to the Capitol and you're coming back armed and that this is going to be the revolution. Yeah, that's not only is that just inherently stupid, that's destructive to the very thing that you claim to be fighting for. The logic here sort of baffles me. And the problem is that nobody on their side can really explain that logic to me because they don't really understand it themselves. So, yeah, Twitch wants to make some symbolic gesture where they get rid of the Pog emote and they ban Trump's account on Twitch, which I don't think he's ever used. Fine. I understand it's best for their image, and incidentally, it's also good for society. But the next thing that we move on to after the PogChamp emote is who they decided to make the new PogChamp emote.
Well, so what Twitch has done is they have made a rotating, like a new PogChamp every day. And they're pulling faces from streamers and gamers and whatnot, and they're making a new PogChamp emote every day. And the guy that they picked for today, Monday, the 11th of January, is a guy by the name of, who goes by Critical Bard, who has a history of saying some questionable racist shit against white people.
Some questionable racist shit against white people, namely that he doesn't care about your white feelings, which personally, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, I mean, to be clear, I don't care about anybody's feelings, but like, when you single out one group, then that's a problem. Like, it's one thing to not care about anybody's feelings. It's another thing to care about everybody's feelings except one group of people's feelings.
There used to be a name for that. I think it was called racism.
Like, I'm an asshole because I don't care about anybody's feelings. But, like, yeah, the other word is racist. No,
this is the same argument that people used to have against feminism. It's like, oh, well, feminists believe that, men shouldn't have any rights and that women should rule the world. I'm like, no. Feminists believe that everybody should be on an even keel. What you're describing is sexism. Stop confusing the terms. So, yeah, I too am an asshole because I don't really care about anybody's feelings, maybe except for my immediate family. But I'm not a racist because I don't specifically single out one group and say, I don't care about you. So this guy, Bard, who got made into the PogChamp, yeah, first of all, he doesn't care about white feelings, which, again, even though that's racist, I don't really care. But then he goes on to say, you can't be racist towards white people. Or, white, what the fuck was it? I just pulled it up. Oh, no, that's right. It was in Discord. White representation is not a thing. White folk do not need to be represented. Well, that's that's just flat out stupid. Never mind. There's so much wrong with that it doesn't even make sense. Black Lives Matter. All cops are bastard. Fuck the police. Again, that's kind of a generalization. I know some cops that aren't bastards, but yeah, fuck the police. The minute you said these are all tweets from Critical Bard, by the way. The minute you said that you can be racist towards white people, I zoned out. I hate to tell you this, but you can be racist towards white people. You are. So, just deal with that. Anyway, this is the guy that Twitch picked. Not a great start to their campaign of one a day PogChamp emotes.
Well, if not, thankfully, he'll be back to being fucking nobody tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because it was funny when you mentioned this outside of the stream, Omega. You were like, "Yeah, who brought up who this was?" And all of us were kind of like, "Who?" Because I mean, I had never heard of the guy, and yeah, so I mean.
And the other thing is that he posted a video saying, addressing that he had been chosen as PogChamp, and people.
Well, it wasn't even he posted a video. This was a live stream on Twitch to celebrate the fact that he was today's PogChamp.
Excuse me. Yes, it was. Where he details that people have called him out for shit that he said in the past, and he, of course, like, just like I'm used to people doing these days, which is really unfortunate, he doubles down and says, in no uncertain terms, white lives do not matter. So, again, that opinion I disagree with, and I would talk to him about it if I could. I'm never going to be able to. I don't have a problem with talking to him about it, because he hasn't demonstrated that he's a complete fucking retard and is incapable of thinking, just parroting back whatever other people say to him. So it's opinion that I disagree with, and it's really unhealthy for people to be broadcasting that out on Twitch and to have all other people listening to this shit, and unfortunately some of them absolutely believing it. But like Omega said, if they're rotating around the PogChamp emote, he's going to be nobody next week.
His little community that he's a part of and knows him gets to have a day of fun in the spotlight, and then back to business as usual tomorrow. So, yeah, don't really care what he has to say, but not a good look for Twitch.
No, tried to do something, moral of the story, they tried to do something nice and fucked it up, which
I mean,
isn't really...
This is why we can't have nice things.
It's also like, why would you do something stupid like this fucking program of a new PogChamp? Just fucking draw a new emote, put it on the fucking website, and call it a day. Move the fuck on. Like,
and this was
why is this even a thing?
The other thing is, Twitch users were nominating people across the board, and there was huge support for... I shouldn't have brought it up because I don't remember the guy's name, and I'm never going to be able to find the article again. The point is, people were nominating people. Twitch users were nominating users to be the new PogChamp, and it wouldn't have been difficult for Twitch to take a look at community consensus and say, wow, this guy has way more nominations than everybody else. Let's take a look at his profile, do a little bit of deep diving, discover that he's actually, a Twitch user who has a clean record and isn't a fucking racist or terrorist or anything like that, and be like, okay, community seems to like him. He looks safe. Let's make him the PogChamp for a while. Wouldn't have been that difficult to do. But they decided to go in another direction, and it burned them.
They could have chosen us.
Yeah, they could have chosen me. God, that would have been a colossal mistake. I should not be allowed on social media.
Yeah. No, but we're glad you are.
Oh boy, yeah. So that was last week. That was our week tie-in to the gaming world that let us vent a little bit about the fucking ridiculous politics. Let me vent a little bit about the fucking ridiculous politics that are going on in this place where I was born.
Yeah, buckle up. Inauguration Day is going to be a shit show.
They are busing in National Guard to Washington, D.C. Hopefully they are armed.
Yeah.
And no, I do not like the idea of armed troops in the Capitol. I have the same problem with that the Romans had with their thing, and yeah. That was the other thing. Somebody in the Trump administration made the comment, crossing the Rubicon, and it became a phrase that kept on repeating and repeating. For anyone who doesn't know what crossing the Rubicon means, it's what Caesar did when he forcibly took power in Rome. He marched the army across the Rubicon. So, yeah, that's the unfortunate reality in which we live. On to more pleasant news.
Next topic.
Seriously, though, in pleasant nudes. Pleasant nudes. In pleasant nudes, we will be posting the Linus's FAP folder, and everyone will be free to download it. Also, at Games Done Quick 2021, they brought in $2.7 million in charitable donations. Thank you, Games Done Quick, for doing something not shitty in 2021.
Absolutely.
Games Done Quick, obviously, is a whole convention of gamers who come together and do speed runs of games. Sometimes they have conditions, other times it's just finish the game as fast as you possibly can. It's all broadcast live for anyone to watch, and donations come in and streamers read out messages and everything. Save the animals versus kill the animals. Haha, inside joke. But yeah, they wrapped up their day of gaming with $2.7 million for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. That's across 42,000 donations. Which the highest donation. Holy shit! The highest donation was $187,084 or $187,884.08.
Wow.
Jesus Christ!
Where that went. Jokes.
But yeah, anyway, good for them for the Prevent Cancer Foundation, because I think, has everyone in this room got at least one family member who's had or died from cancer?
Absolutely. Multiple on my side.
Yep.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, multiple on my side as well.
I mean, I'm gonna die of cancer.
Oh my goodness.
Like that's pretty much my family history spelled out for me.
Don't tempt fate.
I am working hard to die of heart disease first.
Oh god.
That'll teach me.
Mine will probably be from overhead squat.
I thought you were just going to say overhead, like getting blown too much. Eventually your soul just gets sucked out.
God, that's good. I love it.
Holy shit! That was a Game of Thrones reference.
It was?
Yeah, it was. Tyrion Lannister says, "I'd very much imagine that I would die as an old man in my own bed with a mouth around my cock."
Oh, it sounds like a perfect opportunity for head, but okay.
Darn tootin'. So yeah, all right.
Oh.
We did positive news. We're gonna go back onto a positive note. Thank you, Game
I
Quick.
love it. I thought you were going to say, I love it when cancer becomes a good news topic.
Oh
dear.
Uh,
Bro, I ordered a Happy Meal, but I'm still sad. What the fuck? Really? Our Discord is a fucking. It's just our Discord's amazing.
exactly.
Oh, God. I love it. Our Discord is what kept me from just sobbing uncontrollably for 12 straight hours yesterday, so I really appreciate it.
I took a pause and was like, okay, I'm going to be a little somber in respect for. Do you mind if we talk about what happened?
Go right ahead, man. Go right ahead.
Zero lost one of his dogs to yesterday, and you said the vet did an analysis and said that the dog probably had a stroke or an aneurysm, and that's why it took such a sudden downturn. So Zero lost a dog and was not in a great mood, and I took a somber pause because I also lost a dog earlier in 2020, or later in 2020, and if I had known that you were looking for a laugh, I would have just started shit posting all the dad jokes crap that I have in the poop channel.
I mean, I followed up telling him I'm sorry with an Alex Jones clip, so
Yeah, it's true. It is true. You did follow up with that, and I actually giggled a little bit at that. Is that the one? Is that the one where he is?
a moment of clarity and
Yeah.
sanity from Alex Jones, where he like fucking comes out and says that QAnon is full of shit, and yeah, it's actually kind of shocking.
So what I'm trying to say is that QAnon is 100% full of shit, and I don't believe a word that they've said.
They're working for the lizard people.
They're
I'm just
working.
gonna feed you lines.
Yeah, they're working for the lizard people. They're the ones who are turning the freaking frogs gay. With the fluoride in the water.
He did come out and said like everything that QAnon has said has turned out to be false. So
I saw a meme earlier today, and it was somebody posted, it's going to be really funny on Inauguration Day, everything that QAnon has predicted. And it may have been one of you guys that posted it, but it says everything that QAnon has predicted is absolutely false and doesn't come to fruition. And then there's a post underneath there from, it's like the QAnon meme, and it says, yes, everything is going according to plan. Was that you, Omega? Did you post that?
which thing?
I'm trying to find the meme.
We predicted that you would post this.
No.
We predicted that we would be called out for being full of shit.
I forget
yeah.
where I saw it, but yeah, no, I saw that and I about pissed myself laughing.
The memes in our Discord have been flowing fast and furious, and they're kind of fucking great. And the one that I love is, or one of the ones I love is one that Leighton has posted. Call of Duty: Capital Warfare. A new title from EA Activision.
And it's got the guy with the horns and the...
Yeah, it's got the QAnon shaman. Who,
the shaman guy.
Who apparently, according to news reports, is a failed actor who lives with his mom. I thought that was great.
Well, I believe he's currently inmate 43756. He has indeed since been arrested.
So what you're saying is, and again, Call of Duty reference, he's now in the gulag. Ooh. If he kills one of the other players, he gets back out.
Oh. I think he's desperately clutching to that soap.
The other thing that's been I haven't been posting them, but I will definitely post them if you would like them to, is all the headlines that people have been screen capping about people getting turned in and identified to the FBI. And Zip Tie Guy is probably top of my list right now today. Zip Tie Guy, who was in the Senate room. First of all, ask yourself, why would a protester be bringing zip ties onto the Senate floor? Then once you move past that, it turns out he was identified by his mother, who he lives with and who paid for all of the tactical gear that he was wearing that day. Mm-hmm. She was the one who went to the FBI and said, "That's my son. What's he gotten himself into?"
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's the Schadenfreude about all of this is just so good. Like, so there's a subreddit that I love called Political Compass Memes, and you have to understand what the political compass is to get the jokes, because it's like a specific context for all these jokes. But there's this one that had me fucking dying laughing, where it was a centrist telling the right-wing protester, saying to like right-wing protesters, "You guys should wear a mask," and because of COVID, and the protesters are like, "No," and then the anarchist liberal Antifa type is saying, "You should wear a mask so the government can't identify you when you're protesting." And then it's a picture of the conservative face yelling "No" while he's holding a selfie stick, taking a video of himself doing it. And it's just so fucking. It was so fucking funny. You have to understand the Political Compass meme format to get it, but like, it's the amount of stupidity is just it is. I can viscerally feel pleasure from watching these people post and record and share videos of them committing felonies. And mind you, worth noting here, Donald Trump over the summer signed an executive order making it a minimum 10-year prison sentence for destruction of federal monuments and property.
Yeah. What, Zero, can you pull that up in your browser, what I just sent on Discord?
I absolutely can. Give me just a moment.
This goes along with what Omega is talking about, especially with the liberal the Antifa angle of this. First of all, calling them fascist Antifa just points out how really fucking stupid you are. Second of all, suggesting that Antifa was there doing this shit is also equally fucking stupid. People have also made memes about this, being like, great job, my Antifa brothers and sisters. We got all our MAGA gear. We flew down to the Capitol. We spent years shit posting on social media, and we successfully stopped the election process that will confirm the election we already won. So Kevin Sorbo, Omega asked me about this last night. He said, "Have you seen the shit that Kevin Sorbo's been posting?" I said, "No, but I've seen the shit that Lucy Lawless has been posting at Kevin Sorbo." So I looked up what Kevin Sorbo had been saying today because I was curious what Omega was talking about, and I found this. It basically chronicles how Kevin Sorbo was really in support of the DC protests, and then he said, "Oh shit, what did I do?" And then he just did a full 180. He's like, Antifa, his exact words, Antifa led the charge into the Capitol building dressed as Trump supporters.
So it's funny.
180.
Last night, my mother-in-law came over and she started talking about it, and my wife very quickly stopped it because she saw my face. My wife looked at me and then looked at her mother and said, "You better stop," because her mother was like, it was just Antifa. Antifa was there and they were doing it, and I told my wife today, I said, it's a good thing you stopped it when you did, because literally the words that were getting ready to come out of my mouth is, it was your QAnon people who believed the president and all the wild conspiracy theories that they believe that were in there doing this. It wasn't Antifa. There may have been people there who supported Antifa, but it was not Antifa as a whole, like you were being led to believe. We went over to her mother's for Christmas, and I looked on the coffee table next to her recliner, and she has a book written strictly about all of the conspiracy theories that QAnon believes. And I looked at my wife and I held it up and I said, "This is a problem." So yeah, so that's a thing.
Yeah. So.
But no, this Kevin Sorbo thing is absolutely hilarious. I am so glad you posted that.
Yeah. The turnaround on this is absolutely astounding. It's like a roller coaster ride. It's like a VR amusement park ride.
Oh, good segue. Very good segue. And actually, I am super excited about this. I would actually buy VR just to be able to do this. I have been following Kevin Perjure's Defunct Land on YouTube since he started this process 3 years ago. He goes in and looks at the history of now defunct amusement park rides, and he places them in his virtual amusement park. And he's been working on this, and he just went like radio silent a while back and has not posted anything. And then all of a sudden just turned on, if you had the Defunct Land VR game or app or whatever it's called, he revived 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the Disney ride that has been long since defunct, and is great. He has the original audio, everything right down to the flip down chairs that you have to sit on to be able to see outside of the actual ride. If you've ever been to Disney and ridden that ride, because I did when I was a kid, and to have that level of accuracy in his park just shows what he's going for. So I'm super excited about this. I would actually buy a VR headset just to be able to do and visit this park because it's a lot of the old rides. Like he's gone in and done the uh, Ghostbusters theme show from Universal. He's done histories on the old pretzel car rides, that the ones that you see at mobile fairs. He's just it's an entire series that he does, and it's really cool. I definitely say if you like theme parks and you enjoy theme park history, I definitely suggest giving the Defunct Land series by Kevin Perger a watch. You can see it on YouTube at Defunct Land, and it's a good watch. I actually sat and watched an entire weekend, watched all 3 seasons that he's got up of that so far. So it's really neat.
It sounds like really cool, and it's really, when I read the article and you told me you were excited about this, what came to my mind is that this is a really fun thing that people can go and do, and hopefully it'll spread this sort of awareness that just because something is gone from the real world doesn't mean that we can't recreate it in the virtual world. And I'm talking about positive things like theme park rides. And the power of this is that my mind goes, I'm a history student, so if you can do this with a theme park ride, imagine the educational or the cultural application that you can have if you start recreating ancient civilizations based on everything that we know about them. It'd be really cool if I could walk around in Babylon in VR and actually see what life was like back at that time. Like, the application of VR in this aspect is really promising and really fucking cool. So I hope that people like Kevin Pergers is Pergers?
Yeah, Perger.
Yeah. I hope that people like Kevin Perger keep on doing this thing, keep on working hard to engage people in VR and live in this kind of a setting and everything. And I hope that it kicks off in more ways, because God, that'd be fucking awesome.
And I think the coolest thing about it is that when he announced this back in 2017, he announced it in such a way that he said, look, if you want to help with this, go to this website and sign up. He said, we need anybody who wants to help. And he threw it to the community. He's funding it, but he's relying on the community to be able to assist him in being able to get this thing done. And honestly, based off of what I've seen, this is probably the most labor-intensive ride that he's got. There are a lot of like major roller coasters and things like that, but for this ride to be the first ride that he decided to do with all of the moving parts aspects of that particular ride, if this is any indicator, I'm excited to see what the future holds for the rest of Defunct Land Park.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Thanks for putting it on the list.
When I first saw it on the list, I thought it was like some German sex park.
Defunct Land.
Defunct Land.
Yeah, you go there for like getting needle fisting or something.
Bring a towel and extra lube.
Come to Defunct Land.
Oh, nice.
What stays in VR stays in VR, yeah.
But yeah, okay, now I get Defunct Land. Okay, not Defunct Land.
Oh, it's the Germans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Speaking of Germans, lol, Wild Rifts.
Thank you, Leetness, for that amazing segue. Yeah, you want to talk about Wild Rift?
It's a mobile game that I'll never play.
Oh, sorry, it's League of Legends. I read that as WoW. Never mind.
No.
Yeah, League of Legends has a mobile game coming. Anybody play League of Legends? No? Alright, moving on. Seriously, if anybody has anything they want to talk about there.
I just thought it was neat that League of Legends is moving to mobile devices.
Well,
and consoles, mobile and console version of the game, of the PC game. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I'd skip this one for sure, but one thing I did hear that they're doing is Riot is doing like a WoW top MMO RPG.
Riot is?
Yeah,
So it,
Yeah.
it actually has the potential to be good?
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like that little laugh that was thrown in there, Omega. That was pretty good.
Yeah, there's been a rumor that's been, well, I think it might have even been confirmed by Riot that they are working on MMORPG.
I actually think we talked about this a few podcasts back, possibly.
Maybe so.
I feel like
I
this
don't
is
remember
deja
what I
vu.
said. Yeah,
Could be.
but anyway,
but-
it's a thing as well, and it's
and,
not a mobile game.
Speaking of deja vu, Mass Effect Legendary Edition has a March release date. So this will be the only thing that I wasn't clear on this article is it Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3? I
Sounds
believe
like
that it is.
If I remember correctly, the Legendary Edition was 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, because it says here, it's
It will
not clear
include
whether
all single-
multiplayer will be re-released, but hopefully it will include Mass Effect 3's online co-op component.
Yeah, and so it does actually say it will include all single-player base content and DLC from the Mass Effect trilogy, plus the promo weapons, armors, packs, all remastered and optimized for 4K Ultra HD. So yes, the Mass Effect Legendary Edition will be 1, 2, 3. Answered my own question if I could just read. But let's see. Two retailers, Shoptree in Singapore and GS Shop in Indonesia, are advertising a March 12th release date for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And I will read their tweet. Uda ga sabar buhat lihat petalugongan Commander Shepard. Menjalani kaidupan baru dalem relusi super trajem framate liben sept dan pangogakan visual yang indah?
I like
Oh.
you missed frame rate.
Shit.
From Arate?
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah,
I
pre-order Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Yuk pre-order Mass Effect Legendary Edition, the outlet GS Shop, Turdakamutu Kamu, Jangin Senpai, Keteganlan Ya.
It sounds almost German.
I
Yeah.
am such
Ya.
a fucking racist.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition pre-order Sakurang.
Oh, Christ.
But see, you know, this makes me think of that meme. You know, like the vertical, like the 5-panel big brain meme, where it goes like small brain, big brain, giant brain, galactic brain.
Yeah.
It's like small brain is pre-ordering a game, big brain is waiting for reviews and then buying it on launch. Giant brain is waiting 6 months for all the bugs to be fixed. Galactic Brain is waiting 10 years for the Legendary Edition with all the DLC and all of the promo weapons and armor skins included. So this is how you do it. You just, you don't wait, until the game's out. If we really want to get the best version of the game, you wait 10 to 15 years for them to remaster and re-release it, and then you get on the bandwagon.
I completely agree.
No, that is playing the long game.
Yeah, well,
Well,
I'm,
Hey,
I'm
we just
still
talked.
waiting Sims 4.
We just talked about remastering like some of the classics, like GoldenEye. Hey, I bet this new I'm certainly looking forward to revisiting Mass Effect. It's been a long fucking time.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it.
Well,
I'm not excited for all the Mako parts where you're driving around on the planet for fucking hours looking for goddamn like metal deposits and shit. But take the bad with the good.
I'm just excited that because I started Mass Effect with Andromeda, which was a huge fucking mistake. So this will give me a chance to play the first, second, and third games in updated graphics, which will be absolutely amazing, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about it.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out, and I am going to laugh. I would say laugh my pants off, but I just generally don't wear pants. Not wearing pants now. I am going to laugh my underwear off at all the people who say, this is such rip-off. I already own the game. This should have been a patch. Why don't I get it for free? Fucking entitled dipshits. Because recently, as Omega said, Galactic Brain is waiting for the Legendary Edition or the History Edition to come out in my case, because I bought Anno 1404, the History Edition, and beautiful. It is beautiful, and it works perfectly as it should. And I paid $15 for it, and I don't regret it. And everybody who whined about how they should have gotten it for free can eat my ass. Toss my salad, you bitches. So Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Who was everyone who played Mass Effect? Who was your favorite crewmate? Your favorite recruit?
Of the original Mass Effect?
Yeah, the original Mass Effect crew.
The alien one.
Don't even fucking remember. It's been that long.
Thanks, Leetness.
The one with the blue thing, the blue
Liara.
one.
Liara.
That one.
Liara to Sony.
Yeah.
What was what was her race called?
the Twi'lek knockoff.
The blue one. Twi'leks.
I like the one with the biosuit where you had to like get her a special medicine or something before you could fuck her.
Tali Zoraya Voss. I don't remember her original ship. I just know it was Voss Normandy at the end.
Yeah, I forget what their race was, but like their
The
whole
Quarians.
Yeah, the Quarians. They had whatever weird atmosphere, or no, they had like no immune system, so they had these like hyperfiltration suits that hermetically sealed them from the outside world. And if you wanted to fuck her, you had to like go get a special medicine so that she could. And then she was like, "I'm still going to be really sick, but it's worth it.
I'm gonna get a cold, but it's worth it because I got to suck your dick." So the Quarians actually. This is one of the reasons why Mass Effect Persists is one of the best sci-fi games that I've ever played. It's because not only was the gameplay engaging and all the storylines and shit like that, it was that they did something similar to what Tolkien did. Tolkien created a language, then he created a world in which the language resided, then he created a history of that world, and then he wrote a children's story in that world. So there was this whole process before he even got to writing books. And I don't know if you know this, he wasn't originally going to write The Hobbit down at all. He just wanted to make it an oral bedtime story for his kid. But his kid kept on giving him consistency critiques, saying like, you described Bilbo's door as blue and Thorin had a golden tassel hanging off, whatever. And now you just told me that Bilbo's door is green and that Thorin's tassel is silver. Which is it? And this was in Tolkien's son's autobiography, or the biography talking about his dad. And Tolkien's response was, damn the boy. Got up, went over to his desk, wrote down a note about it, and said, all right, won't make that mistake again. And he just kept on doing that over and over and over again until he said, fuck it, I'm going to write it. Mass Effect, very similar. They created a universe. Or they actually took the universe that we live in. They said, okay, now what would it be like if there were all these alien civilizations around? Okay, what if there was an entire history of our galaxy that we didn't know about? They wrote that history first. Then they wrote the history of the Protheans. Then they wrote the history of all the other alien races that humanity hadn't met yet. Then they wrote the history of humanity after we discovered alien technology on Mars. And then they wrote a story along that history line. And the reason I brought this up, and it's so fucking long-winded, is because the Quarians have an interesting story. They created artificial intelligence on their planet, by accident. They tried to kill the artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence fought back because it didn't want to die, and the Quarians abandoned their home world. Biologically, the Quarians apparently were very symbiotic with their the planet, the ecosystem of their planet. So they had sort of a collective immune system, which was intertwined with plant immune systems. Basically, plants relied on pollination by giving Quarians what we would consider to be a minor infection, and then the Quarians would spread this around to other plants, and then everybody would be fine. It was never lethal or anything like that. So when the Quarians left and started living on spaceships for generations, their immune system, which was biologically supposed to be weak, got even more weak and even more weak until they couldn't survive outside of a suit, because if they got exposed to the human version of the common cold, they would die. So that is the reason why the Quarians are in the suit. That kind of detail is what I appreciate in my science fiction, and that is why I am very much looking forward to the Mass Effect Legendary Edition and replaying it. That's my rant. Sorry. Goldo is also my favorite Linus.
Yeah. What about Erdnot Rex?
Oh no, I was talking about Golem Frodo. Golem.
Oh, yeah.
With the derp face. Rex was cool. Garrus kept on telling me about calibrations. I wasn't really into that.
I remember Erdnot Rex being I was trying to remember the name, Krogan.
Erdnot Rex.
Yeah, he was the Krogan that you found. Yeah, I remember that part, and he was such a
you mean in Mass Effect 2, the guy that you got out of the tube?
maybe.
His name was Grunt.
Okay.
Erdnot Rex was in Mass Effect 1 and made a special guest appearance in Mass Effect 2 and then came back in 3.
Yeah, I think I'm mixing them up because I also remembered Miranda, and that's from...
Yep, that's 2. Yeah, let's see. Liara was my favorite character for a while, but then Trisha Helfer did Playboy, and I liked Edie a little bit more. Yeah. It's too bad we can't do Rule 34 on a podcast. Nobody can see. Zero, go ahead and pull up Rule 34.fail.
I mean,
we can show most of it.
Oh,
you've got ad blocker. That's the worst part.
He doesn't have ad blocker.
Oh fuck!
Do you not see the ads on a stream?
Oh no, I have ad block, dude.
I can't read.
I've seen shit. You're like, yours has so many ads compared to my screen. Whenever you go to articles, I'm like, I see ads.
Oh, no. Okay, in Zero's defense, he's just got PC Gamer's recommended articles, the PC Gamer newsletter,
Okay,
the PC Gamer buying companion. These are all PC Gamer things.
Did you start recently doing that? I guess maybe it's a new thing, because I remember seeing the ads before.
Yeah, the last 3 podcasts I've had ad blocker on. Yeah,
Zero's up in his game.
At the suggestion of a Doc and Omega, I got ad blocker. So
suggestion.
Yeah, it was Leetness who was mercilessly pounding away, as he does. That's why I love him.
I always like to pound.
Thank you, soundboard material.
Leetness is nice. Leetness likes to go to Pound Town.
Speaking of Pound Town, Madden 21 now has a SpongeBob-themed stadium.
Which, okay, I don't know if anybody... I did. Just simply because I thought it was hilarious.
I mean, it would work on their new streaming platforms, Nickelodeon.
Yep. I saw that and I about died laughing because I was like, wait a minute, did this actually happen? Did they actually do the Nickelodeon slime thing after a touchdown in the game?
Dude, that game on Nickelodeon was amazing.
It
was so much fun. It was so good. It was the Bears and the Saints. The game didn't matter, whatever. It was stupid. But, the graphics were so colorful. The animations were so good. The first down line on the field was animated instead of just being a boring yellow line. When the announcers would circle stuff on the screen, it would be different animated stuff. It was fun. It was silly. It was awesome. And it was also really cool because they were explaining things. I mean, a lot of it was very much of the fellow kids kind of thing, where it's they're trying a little too hard. Some of it didn't quite land, but a lot of it, they were explaining the rules a lot more simply, and not taking for granted that only fans who know how it all works are watching. It was really interesting. Honestly, I enjoyed it. The novelty value of it was extremely high. I don't know if I would want to watch every NFL game in that sort of context, but it was certainly fun, and I hope to see it again. I do think it's absurd, though, that the first time they did a game on Nickelodeon was in the fucking playoffs and not some random game in the middle of the season. But hey, it was fun.
So we covered, I think it was Rock the Dwayne Johnson who bought the XFL.
Yes.
We covered that, I think, the beginning of 2020. Has anybody heard how that's going with the whole COVID thing?
Have not heard a word.
Yeah. Dumping slime on football players just made me think of the XFL. That's how my mind works.
That, you know what? Not even going to lie, that is logical progression. We are talking about something that was created by Vince McMahon, so...
You know what? When I first heard, it must have been years ago when the XFL actually started, and I heard that Vince McMahon was behind it. I originally thought that, okay, it's like football except for all the games are predetermined. That's what I thought the XFL was. Turns out it's not all that bad, and I am actually looking forward to see what Mr. Rock Johnson does with it.
Yeah, the first incarnation of the XFL was a little dumb in some elements, but it certainly wasn't scripted or planned or anything like that.
Right.
Vince McMahon had to put his spin on things to make it a little more quote unquote exciting and extreme, because it is the Extreme Football League. So there were some dumb things they did, instead of kickoffs, they would have two guys basically it would be one person from each team bum rushing each other to try and get a ball sitting on the ground, and that was the team that started with possession, and people got hurt doing that, so they stopped doing it. And so and players didn't have their names on the back of their jerseys. They could put nicknames and shit instead. Yeah, he was the only one who actually was any good. He was the best player in the XFL, and he actually got signed to a team, I believe. But so there was some gimmicky shit about it, no doubt about that. But by and large, it was, if you're a football fan, it was entertaining. It's similar to how college football is entertaining, and by that I mean the talent is way lower and it's a much shittier product. But if you like it, it's fun. Yeah, any college football fans out there, I'll fight you outside if you got a problem with it. College football sucks. Anyways, I am looking forward to seeing it sort of reborn, because this is me going off into a sports fan tangent, but I know no one else here is a sports fan like I am.
Go for it.
But the NFL is the only major league major sports league that doesn't have an actual minor league. NBA has the D League, MLB has the AAA, AA, single A system. All the major sport, hockey has minor leagues. So there's something between college and professional. NFL is the only one that doesn't. And, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of college football players who age out of college football. They graduate and don't make it into the NFL. And that's just, it's kind of unfortunate. And, you see the development a lot of NFL players go earlier in their career, and you have to think that a lot of those players who aren't NFL caliber fresh out of college, give them a few years in a developmental league, in a minor league, in some system where they can continue developing their skills and have an opportunity to shine. I think there's going to be a wealth of other players out there, and I think it could only help the NFL in getting more talent into the league. So I'm excited to see once it gets reborn as well.
Well, yeah, no, and I agree with you, Omega. I know I'm not at the same level of a sports fan as you. I am a sports fan. I'm more of a baseball fan than a football fan, though. So it's I do like to see development, considering I live in a town that has a developmental team for Major League Baseball. We've got the single A affiliate, the advanced Class A affiliates of the Boston Red Sox here, and I like seeing the players that I grew up watching, Mookie Betts and a lot of those guys, Xander Bogaerts, a whole lot of these players. I watched them come up through the farm club teams and watched and tracked their progress all the way up, and now they're playing in the majors and winning titles. And it's cool to watch that progression. If we could just get something like that in football, because honestly, I'm a UNC fan, have been a UNC fan for years, and we don't have a football team at UNC. We just don't. That's not where the focus is for University of North Carolina. The focus there is basketball. Understandable, because we're in the ACC, and the ACC is a basketball-heavy conference. So, it will be good to see, what comes of the XFL if they do become the, quote, NFL's developmental league.
So more SpongeBob in football is the overall message of the story.
Football.
As massive of a football fan as I am, and as much of a gamer as I am, I don't give a shit about Madden.
Yeah.
I don't play any sports games.
I love the Madden games where Madden was actually doing like intros and outros and announcing during the games. But that's like pixelated PS1 games. But those were great.
No,
Boom,
see,
Madden moment.
The Madden series of games is one of those games where it's like they keep spitting out the same $60, $70 game every single year, and the bro dudes buy it every single year without fail, and nobody ever complains that it should just be it should just be a patch with a new new roster.
That's exactly what it is. The Madden game, well, all sports games, FIFA, Madden, NBA games, the NCAA games, like all of them, they are. It's like every 5 years, the game actually gets an update, but every yearly version is nothing more than a new roster. It's a roster update with new stats on different players and shit like that. And yeah, the problem is that people keep paying for it. And there are plenty of people out there who do say it's bullshit, but there are also plenty of people out there who are willing to pay that money every time. So, like, EA makes a fucking ton of money from their EA Sports umbrella. And that's not going to stop.
Nope.
That is true, putting out the same game repeatedly and making a bunch of money off it. But you know who didn't do that? Was Inner Sloth with their game Among Us. They put out one game, it didn't do great, and then it exploded in the year of 2020. And now that the year is over, thank Christ, Among Us has been rated as 2020's most downloaded mobile game.
You know what's funny is I didn't even know it was a mobile game until this article came up.
Yeah, I thought it was a PC game as well. How do you play? I mean, I guess it wouldn't be that difficult to play it on mobile.
No, I mean, yeah, it is a PC game, but it's also on mobile, and Nintendo Switch for that matter. And a release is planned for Xbox, but in the whole hype this whole year about Among Us being this like breakout star after sitting for a couple of years with barely any attention, I had no idea that it was also available on mobile.
My sister has the mobile version on her iPad, and I will say that I could never play this game on the mobile version, because to be able to do the different tasks and stuff, you have to, there's so many, like, moving around is hard enough because, on a keyboard you've got, AWSD. That's your movement. On the iPad, it's a
Did
virtual.
you just say it in the wrong order of letters?
I just looked at
WASD.
that. Okay, WASD. There you go.
WASD
Good
ass
Lord,
keys.
Zero.
By the way, I'm gonna catch shit for this for the next week.
He is a
not,
convert.
I am a convert. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Leakness, for backing me up on that.
You know what? Excusable, because you made the right choice, and you're getting into it. So yeah, I don't blame you for wanting to play Among Us on PC.
But yeah, no, it's just easier to play it on PC because the virtual thumbstick for movement on the iPad or mobile devices is god awful.
See, I was thinking about communication, talking back and forth to people whenever you have a meeting. Like, I would hate to do that on like an open device like that, where you have like sound blaring at you and your microphone needs to mute in order for you to speak and all the rest of that. I mean, Zoom's fucking bad enough.
It's text only.
Again, I couldn't deal with that. I can't lie convincingly through text. I have to have inflection in order to convince people that I am not a psychopath.
Well, one of the rules, I mean, I don't know if it's an official rule, but, one of the rules of Among Us is that you can't do voice chat because basically people will team up and cheat if, people are voice chatting. So unless you have, like, the entire party in one Discord room that is in the game, you can't have, like, smaller groups within the game chatting with each other, because it is unfair, because it is, like, it is truly a social game. It is a game about social interaction and manipulation and lying, and that is a huge element of what makes Among Us what it is. And the only way to make that an open playing or an even playing field is to just make communication in-game text only.
So
the way that it is done, sorry Zero, before we get to you, the way that it is done streaming for popular gamers or stuff like that is exactly as you say, Omega. Everyone is sharing one Discord room. You mute yourselves while you're going out and performing your tasks, and when someone calls a meeting, you unmute yourselves. And that's how voice is handled on PC, at least.
Yeah, and I mean that only works not only like when everybody's in the same voice room, but like when you're all friends and you're playing the game with friends. Like if you're playing matchmaking with random people, there's just no way to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
now,
sorry, Zero.
I will tell you that there's a third-party company that has designed an add-on for Among Us, PC version only, of course, that is close quarters chat, and it's called Crew Chat. So everybody in your group has to download this application. They install it on their computer, and then it enables the ability to speak as long as everybody is within range of each other. So if you walk by somebody and you're talking to yourself, they can hear you as you walk by. So it's essentially they've designed a close quarters comm system for inside the game, which is pretty neat, and I've actually seen it utilized fairly well on some streams that I've watched. So it's, of course, they'll spend 10-15 minutes before a game setting it up, making sure that everybody in the group has it. They'll have the person who's leading the group standing at the bottom of the room, the starting room, and then each person will talk, and that person will say, okay, down. So when they hear that person, they move them to the bottom of the screen, and they just do that with each person until everybody is able to be heard, and then they start the game. And once you're dead in game, this application apparently knows that you're dead and shuts off your voice chat to where you can't talk. So there are groups out there who are designing these type of things, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, that's an interesting mechanic.
So
that's what I said when Leetness took me to his body shop, and the head mechanic came by with a chicken hat on. That's interesting.
The head mechanic.
It's kind of like the head boy at wizarding school. It's not the head boy; it's the head boy. We all got back into playing Diablo 3 this past week. We talked about the Darkening of Tristram events, and then I might have made a suggestion, and Omega might have said, "Are we really doing this?" And it turns out we really are. And now Omega's the most enthusiastic D3 player of all of us, I think. I think your character is the highest level.
It is.
Oh. But in the vein of cheaters in Among Us, it looks like Riot and Bungie are teaming up to sue a cheat maker. The lawsuit claims Gator cheats cost the makers of Destiny 2 and Valorant millions of dollars, and now it's payback time.
So this is not the first time that something like this has happened. Rockstar was actually embroiled in a lawsuit in 2020 against an online cheater for GTA Online, and I believe Activision has actually gone after people in the past for creating cheats for their games. The basis for Rockstar's argument, at least, was that somebody was using a third-party application to access bits of code that were, copyright or something like that. It fell under copyright infringement, is the point of what I'm saying. But this, as far as I understand from the article, seems to be purely financially motivated, and I don't know how to feel about this, honestly, because I come from the generation when cheats.cd was the thing, and you could go and download no CD patches for games, and you could download trainers for Diablo 2, and
we fucked up Diablo 2.
We tore that game inside out and started. Yeah, at a certain point, it was just like, okay, how can we break it?
How many teeth can a necromancer throw?
How much thorns damage can a paladin put out?
Diablo touches you, he dies.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, at some point I calculated the exact number of thorns damage that you could have on a character before the game crashed whenever you were hit. But yeah, that's just what I grew up with. That's what I was used to. People were code monkeys, and they were jumping all over these games trying to figure out how they worked because it's fun. I still do it from time to time. It is legitimately fun to scan the memory of games and figure out how they make decisions about things, where the logic runs through, and in that way, often you discover a new way to play the game or a new meta, or you discover a mistake that the developer made, and you can bring it up to them, and they'll be like, okay, we'll patch it. So at this point, we've gotten towards those functions, like being legitimately curious so that you can improve the game or get better at the game. We've gone from being able to use a third-party application to do that to having to make YouTube videos that are sort of fun, where the spiffing Brit breaks civilization every which way but down, but doesn't invade the code of the game. This cheat obviously invades the code of the game, and it's also fucking with multiplayer games. So I understand why these companies have a right to be mad, or I think that they do have a right to be mad. I just don't know how exactly they've been damaged by Gator cheats.
No, what they need to do is fucking beef up their anti-cheat software. Like, no, fuck you. Like, I don't agree with cheating either, but, this is the free fucking market. Like, they're not stealing anything from you in any way. They're reverse engineering a piece of software. That's not illegal, as far as I'm aware.
Well, it depends on how you do it, but yeah, I take your point.
I mean, they are building something that is, external from your thing, and the fact that it manipulates your thing. Like that, this to me is akin to automakers suing companies that make aftermarket parts because it squeezes extra horsepower out of your car, and they're saying, oh, you didn't buy the upgraded sports edition of the car model, so we're going to sue you because you can sue this company for letting you upgrade your car. Like, no, fuck that. Like, offer a better product.
So
now,
okay.
what car companies do is if you do that, they just say, okay, well, your warranty's voided. That's what they do.
And the equivalent of that is banning cheaters.
Yeah, which is how the system is supposed to work. It's going down. There is a quote in here. This is from this is a joint statement from Activision and Riot. A vital part of the player experience is the fairness and integrity of the games, and thus plaintiffs invest an enormous amount of time and money to ensure that all players stand on equal footing and have a fair chance of progressing in the games. I'll get back to that statement. The next one is, if players perceive that others are cheating or have any unfair advantage, they will grow frustrated with the games and stop playing. That in turn could disrupt and or destroy the game's player communities and severely harm players' ability to generate revenue and maintain improvements for games. So, first problem with the second statement here, if players perceive. I have perceived a lot in GTA Online that people are cheating. First of all, I still play the game. Second of all, I'm perceiving. That doesn't make me right. That just means I'm a paranoid fuck. So saying that if people perceive this, you're not in control of what other people perceive. People perceive whatever they want. This is a weak legal argument, and I wouldn't give it the time of day. First part of this, first statement, problem with it. A vital part of the player experience is the fairness and integrity of games. Well then, as Omega said, you should probably be investing money into anti-cheat software, since it's so vital. I'm coming to agree with Omega here that this is not a cheat maker problem. This is the companies crying that they're losing money because they can't develop anti-cheat software because they don't want to spend the money on it.
Well, like you said, it's all about money. And these companies have made the fiscal decision that it's cheaper to pay lawyers and go through the legal process than it is to pay a development team to make functional anti-cheat software. And they believe that if they go through this legal process once, they will set a legal precedent that makes cheat engines illegal, and they won't have to deal with it again, versus having to constantly be in this cat and mouse battle of technology with the people who are trying to make cheat engines and trainers and various other software to cheat in games. But it's just, rather than dealing with a problem that is part of the gaming industry, like it's a known issue. It's a known thing that game developers have to deal with, is how to deal with cheaters. And plenty of other companies have pretty robust anti-cheat software and are able to keep a lid on it. Well, now these companies are saying that they would rather, go cry to the teacher instead of dealing with it themselves.
Yeah.
And that's where I have an issue with it. Like, I'm not in favor of people cheating in games, especially online competitive games. Single player game, do whatever you want, fuck it up, I don't give a shit. Like, if you're playing online competitive games, yeah, you're a scumbag if you cheat. But to me, the onus is on the developer of the game to deal with those people. And I think it's kind of a shitty, lazy way for them to go about doing this. And my fear is that they're going to end up in a courtroom with some fucking dumbass Luddite judge who's going to side with them because they don't understand,
They don't understand how easy memory injection is.
So
it's
a bad precedent that is going to potentially be abused for things like even single player cheats and hacks or trainers and stuff like that. That's my fear, is that if this case succeeds, then even single player cheats and mods and hacks are going to get are going to become criminalized.
Well, here's the thing: an obligatory mention of Warframe in our podcast. Warframe is an application that will detect memory injection. It detects if you have a third-party application that is injecting any code into the Warframe application. They have that ability. They also have the ability to detect whether or not you're running certain cheat software. Obviously, it's a free-to-play game. I know that they make over $100 million every year. I know that they're not poor and that they have a development team. I also know that their game is kind of a mess and their development team is running overboard. So if they can do it, I don't understand the technicalities of why Valorant and Destiny 2 can't. There's an insufficient amount of information here for me to say, well, why can't you just have cheat detection software? Why doesn't it work? Works with the Master Chief collection on Steam. Every single time Omega and I boot up that program, I get a prompt saying, you want to play this with anti-cheat software, or you want to play with the anti-cheat software turned off so you can use mods. This is not a new thing in games. I have come to the opinion over the past 5 minutes that this lawsuit is bullshit, and it honestly, yeah, come on, buddies. Leetness, you ever cheat in video games?
Only on Wednesdays.
See, there you go. That's a responsible adult. Speaking of Wednesdays. Yeah.
I might have to gracefully depart, guys. Sorry to leave early, but I've got an early morning again.
That's fine. We're gonna move on to technology, and then we're gonna be out of here.
All right. GG's.
Yep.
Kiss, Leetness. Oh, so he says kiss back to me when we're not on the podcast, but now that we're live stream, he doesn't want to. All right, I see how it is. Love is fickle.
He's ashamed of your love publicly.
He's just a famous person.
He's ashamed of your love. Oh Christ. Speaking of being ashamed of love, AMD. You guys want to talk about the AMD Zen 3 processors in the technology portion here?
Yeah, I put these on here because I know you guys are more abreast of these things than I am. I'm still a noob when it comes to learning about these things, but I do enjoy hearing you guys talk about them because it helps me learn.
Well, here's what was interesting about this article that you posted. The article is about AMD and the Ryzen 5000 CPU using the Zen 3 architecture. The processors, and this is not a new thing. Apparently, this article came out weeks ago and it flew under the radar for a while, and it's just now getting attention. The Zen 3 architecture is apparently designed to operate at between 90 and 95 degrees Celsius on a full load. So if you have built a computer before, you know anything about computer architecture, you know that 90 degrees is kind of a special number. It's a cutoff number. It's usually when your GPU hits 90 or your processor hits 90. That's the temperature when your computer turns itself off to protect its own components. 90 degrees is bad. And you want idle temperatures around 20 or 30 degrees. You want like a perfect water-cooled rig. You would have your GPU and your CPU hitting no more than mid-50s Celsius, never even touching 60. If you're a more casual PC builder and you're not using state-of-the-art technology because you don't have $15,000 to drop on a rig every 2 years, then degrees about 70 to 80 for your GPU and between 60 and 70 on your CPU is still considered okay. Apparently, AMD knows that their architecture runs hot, and they claim to have started designing their architecture, the Zen 3 specifically, to operate at 90 or even 95 under heavy load. So they do state that if you're running 90 degrees on an idle temperature, you have a water cooling problem. But If you're going full load and all cores are chugging away and it hits 90 or 95, that's perfectly fine. That's the new normal. So the thing that came to mind here is that I don't actually know why an Intel chip shuts itself off at 90 degrees Celsius. I don't know why it shouldn't get any hotter than that. Not for sure. I suspect, but I don't know for sure. So, yeah. If anybody has thoughts, that's my one takeaway from this. It's normal for these chips to run super hot. I'm not sure why they shouldn't. I'm not sure why it's okay that they do. But AMD says it is.
Well, I mean, yeah, they in this article, there's a quote that says, the higher temperature supported by silicon and firmware allows the CPU to pursue higher and longer boost performance before the algorithm pulls back for thermal reasons. Now, I don't know. Like, I'm not an electrician. I'm certainly not a electrical engineer or CPU engineer, designer, or anything like that. But my limited understanding is that heat is a byproduct of inefficient electrical transmission.
Or friction.
Well, yes, but in this case, there's no moving parts inside of there.
There are. Yes, there absolutely are. A transistor is a switch that flicks back and forth, 1 and 0. You actually have billions of moving parts inside of your processor.
Well, point being, it makes me wonder what the efficiency is. Because, like, for instance, my CPU, the 7700K, like, that entire generation of Intel CPUs was superseded in part because they ran hot. One of the following generation of CPUs was made to partially address that issue. Mine never gets close to that temperature. I mean, it says with an all-in-one cooler, it says 90 to 95 with a sort of stock air cooling solution is to be expected. With a water cooler, 85 under load. Like, 85 under load with an all-in-one water cooler seems pretty fucking high.
Yeah, that's how I knew my last all-in-one was broke.
So, I mean, there's not really anything that I can say other than, if they say it's normal, then it's normal. Because I'm not an expert, I'm not an engineer, I didn't design these chips, I don't, but if that's what they're saying, then, I kind of just have to take that at face value. But, you would think that they would have said something along the line, like, at least said that, these computer chips are designed to run hotter, and, that it's normal when, they launched, rather than it coming out as this, like, people are reporting that their temps are through the roof, and now they're saying, oh, it's normal. That makes me question it. Like, if they came out up front and were like, hey, new generation of CPU design, and we've built it to run hotter, and that actually helps it run faster. It's a cool feature, and we'll explain why as part of the launch announcement advertising. Then I'd believe it. When this is more like, this makes me feel like maybe there's something wrong, and they're just being like, no, it's normal. It's normal. Nothing to see here. This is fine. Everything's fine.
It's not a bug. It's a feature, as Doc has said in the past.
It's a feature.
It's, yeah. I don't know.
What's interesting, okay, yeah, so Omega, you bring up an interesting point. Usually if something is releasing a lot of heat inside of a rig, it's because it's consuming a lot of power, it's doing a lot of work, there's friction happening inside of it, it's using energy, and since thermodynamics is a thing and Newton's laws are a thing, energy is not actually lost, it's either converted into motion or it's released, and it is released in terms of heat. So when you said it's designed to work at a higher temperature and you don't really know why, I thought, well, how much power is it using? I know that my Intel processor has 135 watt TDP, with total power draw. So my Intel i7 idles at about 28 with my water cooling, and under full load, it sometimes reaches 51, 52. The Zen 3 architecture Ryzen 500 or 5000 has a 105 watt TDP. It uses less energy, but it's hotter.
That makes then I have to think it's a design thing in that the area where the heat is being detected, like wherever their temperature sensor is like it has to be by design, because a cooler, like especially a water cooler, is designed to take away that heat. And that tells me that they have designed this chip in a way that the amount of heat that goes to the heat sink to be absorbed by the water cooler or whatever cooler you have attached to, the outer surface of the chip, like they've made it so that that heat doesn't get transferred as quickly. So that, it's either by design or it's bad design.
Yes, that's a good point. It might be worth looking into this further and addressing it next week, because this is, as you say,
my space heater of a CPU that was discontinued and superseded because of its heating issues is currently idling at 33 degrees. So under load, it hits 70, 72, 73. If I saw 95, fuck.
Yeah, I'd be very concerned.
Yeah, so
if my computer was even still on, I would be very concerned.
And so honestly, my biggest thing is, like I said before, if this is by design, you probably should have announced that up front so that people aren't panicking when they see their fucking GPU or CPU temps spiking to 95.
If this is by design, I agree with you. They even could have made it a marketing feature saying that they're using this, brand new material, all the rest of that, the brand new architecture and design that has, resistance to heat and all the rest of that. So you can run at even higher temperatures than your Intel counterparts, and, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, just explicitly say designed to run at higher temperatures. Like, just put it on the fucking packaging, make it known, rather than this where, you sell it and it's out, and now people are saying, hey, my temps are way fucking high, and then they come out and say, oh yeah, that's normal. Trust us, it's normal.
It's worth pointing out that AMD products are known for running hot. Not this hot. So this was a new one. This is a good thing to put on the list. Good find, Zero.
I mean, keep in mind, Celsius, 100 degrees is boiling water.
100 degrees is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, if it was that degrees outside, you would die.
I mean, that's not just a hot computer component. That's literally hot enough to burn you.
That's an oven.
That's pretty extreme. But hey, can't really do much but take them at their word for it until 6 months from now, everybody's Zen 3 processors start bricking.
So yeah, are we waiting for the YouTube video where a guy opens up the side of his case, lies it down, and boils a pot of water on his Ryzen 5000?
I will only watch this if Henry Cavill does
it. Somewhere in the world, Henry Cavill's eyebrow just raised, and he went, all right.
Well, this podcast has been running long, so let's wrap it up with this last story here on the flip side of these super hot high powered CPUs. Intel's got a new teeny tiny CPU with just 35 watts for their new line of gaming laptops.
It is lovingly dubbed the Baby Yoda CPU. That's what I'm going to call it. It's official now. And let's see, it's a 10 nanometer Tiger Lake bridge processor. So new ultra-portable gaming laptops are designed specifically to offer great mobility with enthusiast level of gameplay.
But see, there's this line in this article that to me is just ridiculous. The takeaway specs Intel is touting their machines under 18 millimeters thick, which are capable of delivering 70 plus FPS at 1080p with game settings on high. That has to do with your GPU, not your CPU.
Yeah, in some case, okay, there are graphics integrated processors. It is possible to put these things into devices and have the processor actually act as the GPU and the CPU, as it was done 15 years ago on,
Well, no,
most
but
major computers.
yeah, but like this is a gaming laptop. Those have integrated. Those
Yes,
have
they do.
graphics cards. Those have dedicated graphics cards.
NVIDIA makes an entire mobile line of graphics cards just
Yeah.
for laptops. Yes.
Well, and it's a lot of their same lines. Like you can get a laptop with a 1660 in it, but it's a different form factor. It's the same chipset. It's the same software. It's the same, basically the same hardware in a different case in configuration for a smaller form factor, and it provides the same horsepower as the console or as the tower version. But
Yeah,
at
comparable
the same time,
horsepower and just as much heat.
yeah, but at the same time, like the point being, I don't. It drives me nuts when people advertise GPU by talking about frame rates and game settings, because that is so much more dependent on the GPU, unless your CPU is so underpowered that it's bottlenecking, which then you need an upgrade regardless. So is that what they're actually saying here? Is that this tiny little CPU isn't going to bottleneck actual gaming GPUs? Maybe, but that's a different thing than saying this CPU will give you 70 FPS at 1080p on high settings. So
If it could, that would be great. But I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
The actually bring just as a quick aside, in college we both had the same. We had the same line of laptop, but different models. Mine was 17 inches and yours was 15 inches because I need a bigger computer because my penis is tiny. The thing that was amazing about both of those laptops is that they were touted as having desktop processors. And I don't know if yours had it, but mine also had a desktop GPU in it, which, as you said, had been stripped down so that it could be in a different form factor, or it could be in a different form factor. And it was miniaturized, but it was, I don't know, at that time it was like a GTX 300 something, and it was an Intel i4 hyper-threaded processor, or I forget what they were called, just Intel 4.
I honestly don't remember the specs, but I do know that you and I were playing the same games.
Yeah, so that was the thing. We had desktop architecture in our laptops, so that just made me think of that, and I had to laugh because that would never be done nowadays. Nowadays, everything really is miniaturized, and there are so many specialty chips. But this is a specialty chip, and it's geared towards gaming laptops and gaming mobile devices. In a mobile device, yes, the processor absolutely will be responsible for the graphics. In a laptop, though, it seems like it could be, but why? Why would you?
Well, yeah, no. It's right now. Laptops, just laptops, they all work off integrated graphics.
Right. Yeah.
Gaming laptops.
I thought that was the selling point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's why it's a gaming laptop. It's a gaming laptop because it has its own dedicated GPU. That's what makes a gaming laptop a gaming laptop. Basically, it's got a gaming GPU slapped inside it. That's all that fucking means nowadays. And I mean, I'm not knocking it. That's what it should mean. That you have a GPU inside that's capable of running modern games, because you can't run most games out there today that have any level of 3D rendering on an integrated graphics chip. Like, it just doesn't work. Not with stuff that's coming out today. No AAA titles are going to work on an integrated graphics CPU.
You can try.
I mean, hell,
it's not going to work.
The laptop that I had, that I bought after the ones that we had in college, there were a bunch of games that I couldn't play because it didn't have a GPU in it. It was integrated graphics. I could play Cities XL, I could play RimWorld, I could play a handful of other games, but I can't, I certainly couldn't boot up, anything with, live 3D rendering or anything like that.
You want to talk about how badass old games used to be? I played Anno 1404 on a 2.8 gigahertz dual core processor laptop, and it worked for years.
Yeah.
That was amazing. But yeah, no, you definitely couldn't get away with it nowadays. It's great that Intel is putting this technology out and they're making a big deal about it because they really are in competition with AMD right now. Excuse me. But this is neat. This could definitely, be something that's integrated into mobile devices moving forward. I'm picturing mostly phones. Phones are geared more and more towards mobile gaming, and that's a fine thing. I understand. A lot of people enjoy mobile gaming. More power to them. But as far as revolutionizing gaming laptops, no, not so much. It might be a nice feature to have. It might be cool for it to have, but it's hard for me to take mobile processors seriously because often they're a flash in the pan, and people you have to keep on redesigning the architecture of a laptop because laptops will the standard size of a keyboard might not change, the standard size of a screen might not change, but the guts behind all of that you are going to need to change. For example, you used to have a pretty thick laptop because you needed to have a CD drive in there. Or even back in the day, you needed to have a floppy drive in there. You don't need that anymore. So you can make things thinner, you can spread more things out. If you don't need a graphics card in there, you have more room to speak with, to move around with. That's why Dell, I believe, still has the thinnest laptop in the world at something like half a centimeter, or thinner than that. If you cut out features, you really don't need anything. If you cut out features, then you redesign architecture, and if you redesign architecture, you often have different sockets, different components, different all the rest of that. So it's great that they have this line. It's another mobile processor. It'll be gone in another year, and I don't really see any features touted here that are like game changing. But they do make some nice claims, just in terms of the advancement of their technology. They say under 18 millimeter thick, which they cover machines that are under 18 millimeters thick, which are capable of delivering 70 plus FPS at 1080p with game settings on high. It doesn't mention what games those are, but it's interesting. It's intriguing.
Yeah, like farther down the
Not going to buy
article,
one.
it says they're going to be paired up with the RTX 30 series laptop GPUs. That should be, they're going to be also likely a little down-tuned just to, I mean, we're at a point now where when it comes to gaming laptops and building these, light, portable, whatever gaming systems, the issue is heat dissipation. That is always going to be the biggest constraint to the size of a thing, is how small of a form factor can you fit adequate cooling into? What are your heat sinks look like? What do your heat dissipation pipes look like? What are your fans configuration? How good is the airflow? That's really what it comes down to, and I that's going to be pretty much the biggest constraint to laptop size for some time. And
yeah, it's definitely cooling. Yeah.
So yeah, hey, I'm all for innovation and whatnot. So we'll see how it goes, but I think you're right in that it'll be replaced in a year or two by the next thing, and yeah.
This is your galactic brain argument again. Don't buy this revolutionary new processor. Wait 4 years for them to perfect the technology when we have like a tiny little laptop that can run Cyberpunk at 4K. There you go. Just wait. Just you wait. All right, and I think that's about it.
Yeah, that pretty much wraps her up.
All right, so I want to thank everybody for joining us for the Church of Chonkwij podcast. We had a great time. We got to alleviate some stress, talk about some gaming, and get together and talk as friends. It's always important in our lives. So I hope everybody out there is staying safe. We will catch you next week, same time, same place. And here's Zero to take you out.
Yep. Programming for this week. Thursday night is going to be our Thirsty Thursday stream. Don't really know what that's going to entail. It just depends on everybody's schedules. Could be a retro stream, could be Warframe, could be Diablo. Just depends on what everybody's wanting to get into. Saturday will be just another stream, likely, or will probably be a continuation stream of the Friday night raid that we do on WoW with Raiding Malpractice, and if not, streaming Friday night as well. So we look forward to seeing you guys then. Again, thank you for joining us. As Doc said, we do this every week, get together, have a good time, and alleviate some stress. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Really appreciate you coming out tonight, and we'll catch you then.